Hey GRMers, this is Ed Malle coming to you from the 2019 GRM $2,000 Challenge. I'm from Bonor, Tennessee. I've lived a little bit of everywhere, so it might be hard to follow me geographically, but one thing that's been kind of a central part of my life for the last 20 years has been GRM and my love for motorsports, and that really comes from a long-term love of cars that came from a family business in automotive, and I'm really happy to be able to be part of this family and have an opportunity to share a little bit with you guys about my 95 Mustang GT that we presented here at the GRM Challenge. So some of you guys might think that I'm a big Mustang guy. That's a little misleading. Yes, I've raced Mustangs in Champ Car at the Challenge, and club racing. In reality, I'm an engineer, and the Mustang is one of the best, most reliable ways for me to realize my goals. There's kind of two different directions that we choose in race cars: either go light and build fast, or go strong and build light. And so the Mustang is kind of in that second generation or second idea path of taking a strong car and lightening it as much as possible. This particular car, the 95, a lot of people give these cars less credit than they typically get, than they should get. They're typically known to be a little on the heavy side, but that really came from a lot of different things that Ford did in the evolution of safety in the car. So one of the easiest ways to make a 95 car more competitive is to go through a lightweighting process, and it really the process uncovers a lot of the details and engineering that Ford put into safety. So the first place that I started was with this car was just by finding it. It really was on an accident. In finding it, I was looking for some nitrous parts after the 2014 Challenge win. My brother and I had done drag week a couple times, and we were looking for something more comfortable than the time bomb to do drag weekend. And this car came up on Craigslist. It had some title issues. Long story short, I actually ended up knowing the original owner of the car. It was his high school car, and it has about 75,000 miles on it, believe it or not. I bought it as a roller. It had nitrous, it had some UPR rear suspension work, it had caster camber plates, and it had no motor and transmission, but every other single bolt nut came with the car. So it was kind of a good starting point for a drag week effort in 2015. We threw a Windsor together with some aluminum heads, went 1150s, ran the whole drag week on a $2,000 budget, had a blast. Came back from there and with a really strong plan to put an LS in the car, which has some merit. I'm not real set. Some of you guys might know that LSs obviously are the first choice for a lot of people. They're a choice in my opinion. They have their pluses and minuses, but I ended up going with an LS specifically in this car because of the available transmissions. So I ended up with a Turbo 400 that was bought used, came out of a street rod from a big block, behind a big block, and the transmissions held up to everything I've thrown at it, and it actually autocrosses really well with the automatic. The right converter really works well to get the RPMs up and put down the power smoothly. All the drivers love the car and the autocross. It's easy to drive. So in addition to the LS, I went the typical route of LS Turbo. I had two choices. I could have gone for the budget challenge. I could have gone a big cam or the Turbo. It happened to be that a good friend of mine from Drag Week had upgraded turbos. He sold me his 72 millimeter turbo for $200 with some hot side plumbing and some V-bands. And I went down the normal route of just using truck manifolds and real simple setup, stock cam, stock shaved truck intake. It's a really tame street driving car with, 8 pounds of boost. It's a really fun car to drive on a street. On top of that, we used the nitrous system. We ditched the wet side and just run a dry shot. Sold the solenoid as part of the recoup in the budget. We control the whole system with a micro squirt. We could have gone with the factory ECU and saved, $300. to put in a challenge towards drag slicks, which may end up determining my fate today. Who knows? But for me, the tunability of the micro squirt and the availability of the software and all the features that it does, how well it controls nitrous, it was a natural choice, and it was super easy to put in and get running. Overall, the rest of the car is a lot of detail and suspension work and setup. Every car I've ever done since I started doing the challenge in 2009, I've worked with corner weights, and I bought my own set of scales from day one, knowing that to be serious, you really have to know what the weight's doing in the car, and that's paid off in dividends. The scales was a really good way to start dialing in the capabilities of the car and bring it to its full potential. Coupled with a little bit of aero and some composites work, we've ended up with a car that I think represents really the true spirit of the challenge, and that's what somebody with a lot of ambition, some knowledge, and determination can do on a very limited budget, using the massive amount of information that's available to us today through the internet and through social media. Oh man, there's so many. My daughter, she's helped with the car. She's 10. She's coming along. She's not a car nut, but she's a great helper. My buddy Scott Heaslett, my brother Bob Malle, Greg Wilson, all my friends who support me. I've been spread all over the place. I have great friends, and they've all contributed in at least in an emotional way, and some of them have put their own time into it. So way too many people to list, but that's the short list for sure. So thank you very much.